Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for turning out this afternoon for Welcoming Week. We have several readers lined up. They'll be reading books in different languages, and we're all looking forward to that. First off, the mayor will read a statement about what Welcoming Week means and what it means to our community. So here he is, Mayor Christenson.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, bonsoir, oi, tudo bem, buenos dias. Am I missing one? Oh, hello. I'm Gary Christenson, Mayor of the City of Malden, and I am so happy to be here with you all because when I was growing up, my mom told me, read as much as you can, and I did it, and now here I am, Mayor of the City of Malden. All right, so everybody read as much as you can, especially during the Malden Public Library Welcoming Week. The City of Malden's success depends on making sure that all people feel welcome here. Today, newcomers are a vital part of our community, bringing fresh perspectives and new ideas, starting businesses, and contributing to the vibrant diversity that we all value. This week, we honor the spirit of unity that is bringing together neighbors across Malden and Massachusetts. During Welcoming Week, the Malden Public Library invites all to join this movement of communities nationwide by renewing our commitment to our core American values and by taking action in the spirit of welcoming. By working together, we can achieve greater prosperity and make our community the kind of place where diverse people from around the world feel valued and want to put down roots. Regardless of where we are born or what we look like, we are united in our efforts to build a stronger community. By recognizing the contributions that we all make to create a vibrant culture and a growing community, we make our economy more prosperous and more inclusive to all involved. Let us come together to build communities where every resident has the opportunity to contribute at his or her best. Thank you. With the kindness book. All right? What exactly is kindness? Kindness is thinking about people's feelings and helping them feel good. Being kind makes you feel good too. Kindness is reading a bedtime story to someone you love. Kindness is taking care of your community. Kindness is holding the door open for someone. Kindness is listening. Kindness is keeping others safe. Kindness is free. Kindness is watching out for someone around you. Kindness is holding hands. Kindness is being there when someone needs you. Kindness is taking care of yourself.
the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched up gown. I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in town, he said sadly. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of spiffy clothes. So he bought a spiffy shirt, a spiffy pair of pants, a spiffy belt, a spiffy striped tie, some spiffy socks with diamonds on the sides, and a pair of spiffy shiny shoes. Now, I'm the spiffiest giant in town, he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the sidewalk stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a long, warm scarf." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his striped tie. "It didn't match my socks anyway," he said, as he wound it around and around the giraffe's neck. "It made a wonderful scarf." "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George strode toward home, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. I'm looking up and down. I'm the spiffiest giant in town." George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was parading loudly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sail," said the goat. "It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his new white shirt. "It kept coming untucked anyway," he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. "It made a significant sail." Thank you," said the goat. George strode on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. But look me up and down, I'm the spiffiest giant in town." George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all sleepy. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's our house," squeaked the mother mouse. "It burned down, and now we have nowhere to live. I wish we had a nice new house." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blisters anyway," he said, as the mouse and her baby scrambled inside. The shoe made a perfect home for them. "Thank you," they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. But look me up and down, I'm the spiffiest giant in town." George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox who was crying. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sleeping bag," said the fox. "I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag." Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds on the sides. It was tickling my toes anyway, he said, as the fox snuggled into it. It made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. But look me up and down, I'm the spiffiest giant in town. Now look, George came to a big squishy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog who was howling. What's the matter? What's the matter? Asked George. It's this bog, said the dog. I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path. Let's find out. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his spiffy new belt. It was squeezing my tummy anyway, he said, as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent cap. Thank you, said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped the dog who was crossing a bog. But my pants are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town. Suddenly, George felt sad and shivery and not at all spiffy. He stood on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes, he decided. He turned around and hopped all the way back to the shop. But when he got there, it was closed. Oh no, cried George. He sank down onto the sidewalk and a tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he had met on his way home. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out of the top. George took a closer look. My gown, he yelled. My dear old gown and sandals. George put them on. They felt wonderfully comfortable. I'm the coziest giant in town, he cried, and he danced back home along the road. Outside his front door stood all the animals he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present. Come on, George, they said. Come on, George, open it. George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful gold paper crown and a card. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. You gave your scarf to a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped the dog who was crossing a fog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town. Ooh, yeah. Good job.